This is the Gotrax Dolphin 26-inch step-through e-bike. If you're thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience. The step-through frame was one of the main reasons I wanted to try this bike. I don't have to swing my leg high over the seat, so getting on and off feels easy. That matters more than I expected when I'm stopping often or carrying a bag. The riding position is upright, and the swept-back handlebars keep my wrists in a natural position. The bike weighs about 49 pounds. I can move it around without too much trouble, but I would not want to carry it up several flights of stairs every day. It feels lighter than some other full-size electric bikes I've used, though it is still much heavier than a regular bicycle. The frame supports up to 264 pounds, and the recommended rider height starts around 5 feet 2 inches. Setup was fairly manageable. Most of the bike was already assembled. I had to install the front wheel, position the handlebars, adjust the seat, and check the controls. The front wheel uses a quick-release skewer, which made that part simple. I did spend some extra time checking the front brake alignment. The brake rotor can rub if the caliper is slightly out of position. It was not a major problem, but I would plan on doing a basic inspection before riding. I checked the tire pressure, tightened the main bolts, and tested both brakes at low speed. The rear hub motor is rated at 350 watts and can reach 500 watts at its peak. On flat roads, it gets up to speed smoothly and reaches about 20 miles per hour. That has been enough for neighborhood streets, paved paths where electric bikes are allowed, and short trips around town. Acceleration is not aggressive. It builds speed at a controlled pace. I noticed a brief vibration through the frame when using a lot of motor power from a stop. It settles down once the bike reaches a steady speed. I did not notice it much during normal pedaling, but it can be felt when I press the throttle hard. The thumb throttle is convenient when I want to start moving without pushing hard on the pedals. I also use it when pulling away from a stop or getting the bike rolling on a slight incline. For most rides, I prefer the pedal assist because it gives me more control and helps preserve the battery. There are 5 pedal assist levels. The lower settings provide a light push, while the higher settings bring the bike toward its top speed more quickly. Changing between the levels is simple. The controls show the battery level and the selected assist setting. One thing missing is a speedometer. I can choose an assist level, but I cannot see my exact speed on the built-in display. I used a phone GPS app when I wanted that information. Some similarly priced electric bikes include a larger screen with speed and distance data, so the basic display here may feel limited. The bike also has a boost mode that moves it at up to about 3.7 miles per hour. I found this more helpful when walking the bike than when riding it. If I'm pushing it up a ramp or a hill, the motor can take some of the weight off my hands. I still keep a hand near the brake because even walking speed can feel quick in a tight area. The Shimano 7-speed drivetrain works well with the motor. I can shift into a lower gear for hills and use a higher gear when riding faster. At close to 20 miles per hour, I can still pedal with some resistance. I have used other entry-level electric bikes where the pedals start spinning too freely at higher speeds. That was less of an issue here. On moderate hills, the motor helps, but I still need to pedal. This is not a bike I would choose for climbing long, steep roads using only the throttle. It does better when I shift down and add some effort. On flat pavement, it feels more comfortable and predictable. The battery is 36 volts with a capacity of 280.8 watt-hours. It locks into the frame and can be removed for charging. I like being able to leave the bike in a garage or storage area and bring only the battery inside. A full charge takes around 5.5 hours, so I normally charge it after a ride rather than waiting until I need to leave. Gotrax rates the range at up to 30 miles in the lowest pedal assist setting. I would treat that as a light use estimate. With frequent throttle use, stops, hills, and normal city riding, the range is much shorter. Around 14 to 16 miles is more realistic when I rely heavily on the motor. Range also changes with rider weight, tire pressure, temperature, wind, and road conditions. I would not plan a 30-mile ride without conserving power and being ready to pedal. For short trips and casual rides, the battery capacity has been practical for me. For long daily commutes, I would look at bikes with a larger battery. The front suspension fork takes some of the sharp feeling out of cracks, small curbs, and rough pavement. The rear of the bike has no suspension. Larger bumps still travel through the frame and seat. The stock saddle feels firm after several miles, so a gel cover or a different seat could help on longer rides. The 26-inch tires feel stable on pavement. They also handle short sections of grass or packed paths, but I see this mainly as a city and neighborhood bike. It is not set up for rough trails or repeated off-road use. The mechanical disc brakes are quiet and easy to control. They slow the bike in a steady way without feeling too sudden. They need more lever pressure than hydraulic brakes, and the stopping distance from 20 miles per hour is a little longer than I would like. I leave extra space in traffic and check the cable tension from time to time. A few practical accessories are not included. There are no factory-installed fenders, rear rack, or integrated lights. I would add lights right away if I planned to ride near sunset. Fenders would also be useful in wet conditions, and a rack would make grocery runs easier. The electrical system meets the UL 2849 safety standard, which was something I checked before using it. That does not replace careful charging habits. I still charge the battery in a dry, open area, use the included charger, and avoid leaving it connected longer than necessary. Compared with larger electric bikes I've tried, the Dolphin feels easier to handle at low speed. It is also less bulky. The trade-off is the smaller battery, basic display, and limited included accessories. Compared with a regular bike, the motor makes starts, headwinds, and moderate hills much easier, but the added weight is noticeable when the power is off. I think this bike makes the most sense for short commutes, neighborhood rides, errands, and casual exercise. The low frame may also work well for anyone who has trouble stepping over a high-top tube. I would not choose it for very steep routes, long-distance commuting, or rough trails. My main concerns before trying it were battery range, hill performance, and whether the frame would feel stable. The frame has felt steady during normal use. The motor works well on flat roads and moderate slopes when I help by pedaling. The battery is enough for shorter rides, as long as I do not expect the maximum range while using the throttle often. I can recommend it to someone who wants a simple step-through electric bike for short or medium rides and understands its limits. I would budget for lights, and possibly a more comfortable saddle, fenders, or a rear rack. I would also use a phone mount or a separate bike computer if seeing speed and distance matters. If you have any questions about the Gotrax Dolphin 26-inch step-through e-bike, leave them in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more practical product reviews. Thank you for watching.